Hello, Donna Green. How are you? Hey, guys. Happy Wednesday. As they say, hump day. Getting over the hump of the week. How are you doing, Donna? Hey to anyone who is in the live. Y'all, this is why I don't watch the news. Because when you watch the news, I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. It's cold here. I'm all sweatered out. It was 30 something last night. This morning it was in the 40s. I think now it's about 52 degrees outside, but y'all, this is why I don't watch the news, because I don't know. I'm too much of an empath. When I watch the news, then I'm just like, what is going on in the world? Oh my gosh. But what made me want to go live was these 3 stories in the news. So the University, Virginia, football players being killed, coming back from a field trip. Oh yeah, Donna, I'm in Texas. It's cold. Then I hear about the story of a girl that's on a vacation in Cabo with friends and then ends up beaten to death, but her friends leave her there. Friends, supposedly friends, leave her there. And I'm like, what in the world? Like, so then today, another news story about college students in Idaho who got killed from the University of Idaho. And they are investigating. I guess they were living in a house off campus, I believe. Hey, Ghetto Bites. I'm just venting about the news and why I don't like watching the news, because it's always something horrible about what's going on with people. And I'm just like, what's going on with people, the minds of people, to do these crazy things? So these 4 college students in Idaho, the University of Idaho, they were murdered. Police are calling it a crime of passion, saying that whoever did it did so intentionally. But then you're telling the other college students not to worry, but then you're also saying you don't have a suspect in custody. So I'm like, so that means maybe you know who it is and the reason why it happened, but you just haven't found the person yet? But then that doesn't make sense either, because then shouldn't people worry about that? Yeah. And that's the first story that like broke my heart. The University of Virginia, sorry, football players. I mean, to go on a field trip, to be on a bus thinking that, hey, Shanette, to be on a bus thinking that you are coming back from probably having a good time, and then for somebody, another Black male, to take their life while they're on a bus. It's sideways. Here, let me see. It's because I have my phone that way. Is it better? Yeah, Ghetto Bites, that too. Sorry, I have my book for my book club for work. But yeah, it's so crazy. Because I was already, and when they showed the pictures of the football players who got killed, that just broke my heart. I'm like, these handsome young men who were just trying to go to school and be on the right track. They weren't out on the streets. Like, they're in school, and for somebody to take their life, it's crazy. Hey, Annabelle. Hey, Pow Pow. It's crazy. So guys, I'm just venting a little bit. Okay, so now you see me upside down. I don't know what the solution is. Okay, so when I turned it this way, it says it's the wrong way. And I can't turn it that way. It says I'm the wrong way. Do the rest of you see me upside down? I don't know what's going on. I should have went live on my computer. But I have a playlist running on my computer. Shanette says I look right now. Ghetto Bite says no problem, you're fine now. Okay. I don't know. Pow Pow, you still see me upside down? But I have to leave it this way because it won't let me turn it the other way. Okay. That's good, Pow Pow. Thank you. I don't know what was going on with that. But yeah, say hello to everybody in the chat. No, I'm just on here venting because this is why I don't like watching the news, because then it gets to me. I'm such an empath. And so then I'm like, what's going on in the world? And then I want to fix it. And you can't just fix everything. Like, if something's wrong, I want to fix it. But it's like, it takes a lot to fix these issues that are happening in the world. Like, I was with the football players that lost their lives. I'm just like, these are young men that were not out on the streets. They were in school, playing football, doing what they're supposed to do, or what people say they're supposed to do to try to stay out of trouble. Oh, you're not being ghetto and rude, Ghetto Bites. Yeah, people have to want to do better. But then it's like, you're trying to do the wrong thing, and then somebody can just have mental issues or just be evil and come take your life, and you can't do anything about it. Like, what were those football players supposed to do? They didn't know that was coming. So you can't even protect yourself. Like, I know people were like, well, that's why people need a carry. They need to carry their weapons. But in that situation, even if somebody had their own gun, that boy took out his weapon and shot so quickly. I mean, you couldn't even prepare for that. Thank you, Shanette. No problem. I understand. Got to get the kiddos. Hey, LaGregoria. Thank you. I hope your workday is going well. But yeah, it's crazy. Those guys, I mean, to just take people's lives like that. And then the situation with the girl that was on vacation in Cabo, I think about, I just went to Mexico myself with my best friend and a bunch of other girls. Oh, discovered pink poo. That's cute. I know they have all these different emojis that you can click on now. But like, I just went on a vacation with one of my best friends and then a group of people. And it's like, what if one of those people just had a mental break and just decided to take people's life? Like, I guarantee if that girl thought her life was in danger, she wouldn't have gone on that trip to Cabo. And for it to apparently have been probably one of her friends, I saw a guy who made a video on YouTube saying that he got there the next day. It just seemed really strange. It's like he was trying to cover himself, to keep himself out of being a suspect or whatever. Because why would you make a video on YouTube? Like, go talk to her family, go talk to the police. We don't need to see that video. It's like you're trying to tell the world you're innocent. To me, that made him look a little guilty. What do you eat to get pink poo? I don't know. But yeah, it's crazy. But it makes you worry because I mean, yeah, and that's crazy, ghetto bites, that somebody would sit there and record someone being beaten, and then y'all leave the girl like that. And to not intervene because he was supposed to be a close friend of hers, that's crazy. So crazy. But I was talking about that with somebody else, like, how do you save your own life in this crazy world of crazy people and you don't know that they are capable of these things? Even like road rage and things like that. Like, for some people, you might honk your car horn and the other person might just flip you off or just keep driving. But then you might meet the wrong person one day and you honk your horn and they come chasing after you and shoot up your car. It's like, you don't know what kind of people you're dealing with. And just with those football players being on that bus, it made me a little mad. Actually, not a little, it made me very mad to find out that the guy who did this had some issues before that they were looking at, I guess, mental health wise. And my thing is, I don't feel like people take mental health seriously enough. I know. I know, Annabelle, it's true. Right, Donna? Right, ghetto bites. I heard about that. And I'm like, she had blunt force trauma and her spine. This girl was beaten. They just need to arrest all of them. Whoever was in that house, just all of them, because nobody made sure she was good. Nobody, even if you weren't the person who put your hands on her, if you stood in that house and didn't do anything about it, just to me, that's just as guilty. I always used to tell, like when I used to teach, I used to tell my students, if one student is bullying another student and you stand there and you don't do anything, if you don't try to say stop, if you don't go get an adult, then it's just as bad as you being the person who's doing it. And I feel like we have that kind of issue. And then you have the situation where people don't want to snitch, where people are afraid to snitch because they don't want to end up with their lives being taken. And so you have to deal with that too when police are trying to investigate. You have people that are not going to ever talk because they don't want to tell on somebody else. Yeah, Sonia, Donna, these young people need to stop taking these drugs. Yeah, drugs and so many just influences of things. It's crazy. Hey, the Bud Files, how are you guys? But yeah, I was just like, man, that was one story too many. And I know there's even much more going on in the world and in communities around us that we don't hear on the news daily, but that just took the cake. Just, that's too much. But then the situation, so you had the football players, you had who lost their lives coming from a field trip. You had the girl who went with her friends to Cabo, lost her life. And then you have these 4 students from the University of Idaho that they're saying is a crime of passion, that it was most likely somebody they know. But then the police are telling the college students not to worry, that everything is, that there's no risk or harm. But you're not telling them any more information. So how are they supposed to not worry? They said that there were students who were going ahead and going home early for Thanksgiving break, and I don't blame them. I would have packed my bags and been out of there too. You're telling these college students not to worry, but you're not telling them any more information. And then you're also saying that you guys haven't taken anyone into custody. So I'm like, if you know that no one else's life is at risk, then you have to know something else. So I don't know, at least if you're going to tell people not to worry, at least give them some information that will ease their mind. Because if I were a parent, I'd be going to get my child, or if they live too far, I'd be saying you need to go ahead and get your stuff and come home. I wouldn't stay on campus or near the campus with that having happened, and they haven't given them any more information. But yeah, and it seems like November is heavy with it. I don't know, it's so crazy. Yeah, definitely engaging with these young people. Right, Ghetto Bites. Like, imagine you're a college student, you find out 4 college students have lost their lives, and then they tell you, "Oh, there's no threat. Everybody can stay calm." I would be like, I'm getting out of here." I would go home too. That's a because until you tell me that you have the person in custody or the person who did it is no longer alive, then I'm gonna be concerned. So hopefully they'll be able to, and I know with investigations, it's not as easy as that, like, especially with police investigations, sometimes they can't say too much, but at least say something that will, I don't know, because it's for them to say that there's no threat or that people can stay calm, they have to know something specific. Because if not, they would be telling people to, like, keep your doors locked, don't talk to any strangers. Like, they'd be given some type of alert if they felt like this person was still out and about. So there has to be something that they know, they're just not able to say it yet, but it's just, it doesn't ease their minds. But I'm just like, parents are sending their kids to college to get an education, to have these life experiences, to grow up and become adults. They don't send their kids to college to lose their lives. And it's crazy. So crazy. Families have to bury their kids during the holidays. And I was watching one of the girls, her sister, they interviewed her on one of the news stations, and she was just saying how, like, those kids did everything right. They had gone out that evening. They had taken an Uber out. They took an Uber back to the house. They had taken the, I guess, dog or something for a walk. They had come home and locked their doors, and still something like this happened. And so I'm like, I'm wondering if it were a roommate, but because it was a big house and that was only 4 people, but they're just not saying anything else. So I'm just wondering, because they said it wasn't a like murder suicide. So like those 4 people, it wasn't a murder suicide, but I'm like, was it a roommate in the house with them? Like, it had to be something. Yeah, technology is definitely good because it's basically helped us to be able to do a lot of things throughout our lives. Just the different things that we have. It's just there has to be a balance for sure. Yeah, Donna, that's what I'm thinking. It had to be somebody they knew, and I feel like the officers probably know who it is, but and if they haven't caught the person, they're probably not wanting to say who it is because they don't want to risk the person getting away. It has to be something, because like I said, if whoever did it was a risk, and um they were afraid for people's lives, they'd be telling people to stay indoors, like pretty much to lock themselves down if that were the case. So there's definitely more to it. But for those families, I mean, what holiday? Like, it's hard enough to lose family members in general. Doesn't matter what time of year, but it just hits a little harder during the holidays. You have to experience Thanksgiving. And then for college students, I mean, parents are looking forward to their kids coming home because they get to stay home longer, those long breaks. And so they don't even get to do that anymore. It's crazy. But anything having to do with killings at colleges, elementary schools, high schools, all of that stuff is just I don't know. I'll never understand it because it just shouldn't be. But I mean, just taking anyone's life for no reason is bad enough in itself. Weapons should be used to protect yourself, like when you need it. So if you need to pull it out because somebody's attacking you or something like that, that's when they should be used. But people are using them just to take people's lives because they've dealt with trauma, or they haven't dealt with trauma, I should say. They mental issues, spite, jealousy, so many reasons why people take someone else's life. But I was just like, this is why it's like watching the news is good to stay informed about what's going on. It's a good way to know what's going on in your community and the world and in places you don't live. But at the same time, it's hard to watch the news when you keep hearing about these back-to-back stories of just craziness. Yeah, Donna, it's becoming too much of a normal thing. Yeah, that has to be a parent's worst nightmare. No parent wants to lose their child before they leave this earth. I know, like with my sister, my middle sister who passed away from cancer, her life wasn't taken by a person, but I know that was, my parents would have preferred it to be them than for it to be her. And to have somebody take your child's life, another human being to take your child's life, that's on a whole different level. Yeah, Annabelle, and the thing is, like, I believe in the right to carry and people being able to carry, but I also want people to use them the way they're intended to be used. Like if somebody is really coming towards me and trying to cause me harm, then yes. But thank you, Sonia. It's been a long time, even though sometimes it doesn't feel like a long time. She passed away in 2000, over 22 years ago. So crazy. I was 17, she was 19. And the thing about it, unfortunately, yeah, those workplace situations, thank you, Ghetto Bites, workplace shootings, so many things. Like, I know here in Dallas, there was the guy that he had been in prison for something else, and then he got out, I believe, on probation. He had an ankle thing on his, what do you call it, ankle monitor, and he got permission because I guess the girl that he was dating was having a baby, so he got permission to go and be there at the hospital for the birth of the baby. Well, they're in the hospital room, he was in there with her, and all of a sudden he started like acting weird and like telling her, how do I know this is my baby, and like going off on her. And then he hit her. A nurse or somebody heard the commotion. Oh, and then he pulled out a gun, and I guess he told her something about like, today's gonna be your last day to live, and if anybody comes in here, they're gonna die too. So a nurse didn't know that this was happening. She actually came in the room to check on the lady, and he just immediately took her life. And then another worker, I don't know if it was a nurse or just someone who was working up there, she heard the commotion and peeked her head across, and he took her life. And I was like, what? I just and so then they were talking about how trying to be more proactive in watching people like that, or criminals that could potentially still be a threat to people when they get out. So I don't know, it's just crazy stuff that people are going through. It's horrible. And then with the school shootings, you just never know where it can happen. I mean, Uvalde being just outside of San Antonio, really small community, like they definitely never thought that would happen. I know in my home state, New Mexico, I don't even know if it made fully national news, but several years ago, I can't remember how long ago it was, but there was a young guy who walked in the library, a public library, and took some lives in there, and was trying to take more, but it's just crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. But all we can do is just try to be mindful of our surroundings. Of course, we can't read somebody's mind and what they're thinking. I was watching a documentary about this one. He was a young man. I believe the time I was watching the documentary, he was like 18 or 19, and they were interviewing him to get inside of his mind, because he was saying that and he was somebody who had not committed an actual crime yet, but I think they had put him in custody because he was such a threat. And I'm like, this is where family and friends who are close to these people have to be more aware, I think, because I think if anybody can help save the lives of other people, it would be the people that are closest to some of these people that end up taking lives, who notice things, and really, really being adamant about trying to get them help. Because in that documentary, this young guy, he was saying that I think he had gone through abuse and things like that, and he was being raised by his grandmother. And so she was trying to help him, but he was just so far gone that any like type of conversation, there was no rational thinking in his mind. So he was basically saying that there were times where him and his grandmother would be in the grocery store, and he would look at people and say, like, I wish I had a gun right now because I could just kill all these people. And she said that he would say stuff like that. And she said that she actually reported him to the police on several occasions because she was afraid he was going to hurt somebody. And I think there was one day where he was, they were really concerned because of things that he was saying. And they went and got him into custody. And I guess they were doing some mental evaluations on him. And actually, I don't think he was 18. I think he was 17. At that point, she was still able to kind of make him get help. And but I was like, kudos to the grandma for getting help, because I mean, the way that his mind was working, he definitely could have taken action on that. Yep, crime is everywhere. Small towns, large cities, rich communities, poor communities. It's everywhere. And I think once people start to think, well, this can't happen to me, then it seems like something happens. So definitely have to know that something can happen. It's crazy though, but I just hate to hear about crimes happening, but this is why I don't watch the news. Because when I do, then I'm like, what's the solution? Like, how can we help? And really, like, I can't solve it. All I can do is try to be a good impact in the environments that I'm in. but it takes much more than that, because you have to really have something going on here to be able to carry something like that out, to even be able to think that that's okay. So I don't know what the solution is, but something has to be done. And not just like these stories that are in the news, just in our daily communities, like, and people have to be willing to talk about it. I said this in my other video when I was talking about Takeoff, the rapper, and then just talking about like in our communities, and and speaking specifically in the like Black community, Black and brown communities, we have a lot of kids just killing each other in their communities over territory, over just wanting to do this or that. Hey, Jazz and Otis, how are you? I'm just here venting about why I shouldn't watch the news, because all these crazy stories just get to me. I just hate hearing about them, but I don't know. We have to do something in our communities because that's where it starts. But I think a lot of it too is you have kids raising kids, but then you also don't want, right. And the thing is, like, I'll try to avoid the news, and then it pops up on social media, and then I click on it, and then I'm reading the stories, and I'm just like, what in the world? What's going on? But then I also sometimes want to know what's going on, especially like in my community and stuff like that. But I typically don't even turn on news stations because it's just all they report is the negative stuff. But at the same time, it's like real people being affected by a lot of these things. Yeah, it's true. Because I feel like that's where the change needs to happen, is at home, in the way that kids are being raised, the communities they're being raised in, the mindsets that they have. That's where it has to change. So I don't know. But then you also have people who do have the mental illness who people don't pay attention to it, or they don't want to address it, or they just say, oh, he's just crazy, he's just cuckoo, that's just how he is, until he ends up hurting somebody, or she ends up hurting somebody. Yeah, leaders who are willing to really be out there and make some change, and not leaders. And the thing about it, some of the leaders are afraid to go in these communities, and it's like, I don't know what the right approach is. Because if you're afraid to first enter the community because you think even being in the community could take your life, and in some ways it's true. Like some neighborhoods that I wouldn't even step foot in, because people, it's like you have to be able to get to a point to talk to people. I don't know how to solve that issue, because it isn't always safe to go just try to be in these neighborhoods and try to talk to people, because somebody might just come take you out. So I don't know what the solution is. Yeah, idolizing it. Yep. Yep. And the thing about it too, why is it that they're allowed to have that music that promotes it? Why is it allowed to have the TV shows and the movies that encourage it? And people are like, well, it's just a video game, it's just music, it's just a movie. But when you have young, impressionable minds that are already dealing with craziness in their communities, I don't know. I feel like all of it mixed together. I don't feel like it's one issue. I don't feel like it's just music or just this or that, but it's when you put all that together, it doesn't help the situation. Yeah, Annabelle. And that's the thing. It's like, how can you make change in some of these neighborhoods that they're like afraid to go in themselves? And nowadays, there's so much division between what people believe, like with police and community, that there's no trust there because of like situations that have happened. So even the ones who really want to make change in the police department, even the ones who are the ones who actually want to help and do the right thing, they can't get in to let anybody hear them because there's such division, and people have like just this feeling that all of them are horrible, or all of them are bad or corrupt or whatever. So it's like it becomes that kind of thing too. But I don't know. Yep. That's really sad. It makes you really appreciate growing old, because so many people don't. I feel like the nuggets of positive news are there, Annabelle. It's just that when you hear about some of these crazy stories, it just like, I think people tend to focus on it so much just because they're like, man, we keep hearing about the negative. What can we do to change it so we don't keep hearing about the negative? And that's my thing, because even with Uvalde, my thing is everybody was devastated. Like I think that one and Sandy Hook, because they're elementary schools, even any school for sure, but these little babies, I think that really, like, for a lot of people, devastated people. But at the same time, look at us now. Like, what's being done still to change it? And then like it happens again, everybody's devastated. Then what's being done to change it happens again, it's like a cycle that so what's gonna be the solution? And that's my thing. What's gonna be the solution? And until people start addressing what's going on in homes, not paying attention to kids when they're little and they're showing these signs and just saying, oh, they'll grow out of it, until we start really addressing those things, then that's the issue. And I know, being a teacher, a former teacher, when I was a teacher, I remember there was a little boy that I promised the day before, he was actually in my class, and he actually would listen to me, but he had moments where he just couldn't control himself. And there was the counselor she kept talking to the mom, and we had a counseling center that had partnered with the school district that offered like 10 free sessions that families could, if they needed them, they could sign up for those free sessions. And so the counselor told the mom, like, since he was like probably first grade, second grade, he was having some major issues and something was just off about his behavior, that the way that he was interacting with kids and even adults, it wasn't typical behavior. It was something that was strange and just off about how he would act. And so she told the mom about the counseling center and said, like, it's all free. You don't have to pay anything. Like, they're willing to work with you. The first 10 sessions for sure are free. And so but the mom was like, are you guys trying to say my son is crazy? And she's like, no, we're not saying your son is crazy, but we want to see what is going on with your son. And she refused. And so then he got to third grade, he was in my class, and I noticed still some of the same behaviors, just very socially awkward, didn't get along well with kids, was very negative thinking about everything, automatically, just very negative thinking. And so I would talk to him, and he loved music. So anytime like I play music in class while they're working, he'd be sitting there doing his music and dancing. So I tried to make sure I would turn on music because it seemed to make him happy or get him in a good mood. But then he had moments where he would just kind of go off on kids. It could be something as little as, um, kids try to cut each other in line. And some kids, of course, kids, they'll be like, oh, he cut me in line, she cut me in line. And they don't want anybody to, but then for him, it would go to an extra level where he would try to like hit. It was like that kind of thing. And then he wouldn't let it go. Cause I would be like, well, if somebody's in line first, nobody else should be getting in front of them. Everybody should be where they're supposed to be. So where other kids would get mad, he would get angry. Like, and then once you fix the situation and put him where he was supposed to be and put the other kid at the end of the line, he still wouldn't let it go. Like, he would hold on to anger. And I had spoken to the counselor about it the day before. I said, he gets so angry that he's gonna go off. I said, I think like he'll get angry enough where he's just gonna hit a kid. And so I had just told her that, the counselor, that the day before. The very next day, he was angry at another kid for something that he actually did, and I saw that he actually did, but he got mad at the other kid for telling me, but I saw it. And so I was like trying to handle that situation. Well, he was mad that I guess he wanted the other kid to get in trouble. And I'm like, the other kid's not getting in trouble because I'm standing here. I saw the whole situation. You actually were the one who were in the wrong, whatever. So we had that conversation, but we were about to leave and go to like specials, like art, PE, one of those. So we're in the hallway. We stopped at the restroom to get water and all of that. So he's looking at me, the little boy, and he's just looking at me with pierced eyes. And I'm like, I was watching him because I'm like, I knew that this kid could pop off. I thought he was going to hit the kid that he was mad at. And he actually walked up to me and swung at me. And I blocked it. And I was like, don't you ever swing at me again. And he looked at me and he went and stood at the end of the hall. And he didn't try to hit me again. But I talked to him. I said, why did you try to hit me? And he said, because I'm mad. I said, why are you mad? And he's like, because that kid should have got in trouble or whatever. I said, but why would that student get in trouble when you were the one who did it? I said, I was watching. I said, it would be different if I wasn't standing here watching it and seeing it for myself. I said, but it was you. You pushed the kid. And I said, so why are you mad at me? And then he started to calm down because I was actually talking to him. But it wasn't even, I don't even think he was really mad about the kid. It's just, these were behaviors. He'd just get really angry. And so he had been dealing with that since before I met him. Like, and the counselor, like I said, she had been trying to tell the mom, something's wrong with them, something's wrong with them. And the mom was just like not willing to get him any counseling. And see, that can be common in, again, Black and brown households. I don't know. I can only speak for like what I'm familiar with, but there's like this stigma about counseling. You don't want anybody to label your child as crazy. But it's like, if your child, and the mom, she said that she noticed strange behaviors at home as well. So it's like, okay, if you're noticing strange behaviors at home, we're noticing behaviors at school. Why don't we try to get professional help to see what is wrong? Nobody's saying your child is crazy. And the thing is, it was interesting because when he went to the next grade, he was having a hard time in that class. And the teacher that he always wanted to come and talk to calm him down was me. He would ask to come and see me. And then the principal said one day he was just saying how he hated everybody. And she asked him, well, is there anybody you don't hate in this school? And he said, and he named my name. And mind you, this is the same kid that tried to hit me. But he said I was his favorite teacher, that I was the only one that he liked in the school. And I was like, wow. But I think it was because I actually tried to talk to him. But it was just crazy that the mom wasn't willing to let us help. And so I think about that kid. How is he doing now? Because when kids get bigger, it's a lot harder. When they get older, it's harder to control. I mean, now they're becoming big, almost going towards adulthood as they start to get older. So it's like, when you notice things like that, because I'm like, he tried to swing at somebody that he actually cares about. Imagine if it's somebody that he doesn't. if he's willing to do that to somebody. So, and sometimes he would just break down crying, and I would just, even when he went to the next grade, I would say, just come in here, tell me what's wrong. It's okay, cry, let it out. And he wasn't really able to express why he was feeling sometimes angry and things like that. So I just, it's just so crazy, the things that people deal with. But I just hope the best for everybody. But I think it's also important that people talk about issues, because I think sometimes when there's negative things in the news, like, people just don't want to talk about anything. They're just like, let's just talk about the positive stuff. But it's like, you have to address some of these issues, especially in your local communities. Like, if you don't address it, then that's still a part of the problem. We're never, ever, ever going to solve it. So I wish more people would talk about it, but also figure out ways to, I don't know, solutions. But it starts with, I think, parents being willing to get their kids help. When you have people noticing issues, you have to be willing to take them to get help. And not everybody is willing to do that, unfortunately. Unfortunately. But I appreciate you guys hanging in here to hear me vent about issues and things. I know sometimes it's like, I don't want to talk about that. It's not a happy topic, but for me, I do better when I talk about things. Thank you, Annabelle. But it's crazy, because I think about that little boy, and I'm like, is he getting any help? It's been 4 years now. So next year he would be going to, let's see, next year he'll be going to 8th grade. And I just wonder, like, has his mom accepted that something is wrong? Has he gotten any help along the way? Because I would hate to hear about something happening later on. And you think about, like, people entering schools, like these teenagers, 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds entering schools and taking people's lives. It makes you wonder, was there somebody that tried to help and somebody didn't listen to them? Because it's like, what can you do? Hey, Bayou Bingo, how are you? Right, Annabelle. And then people will be like, well, who tried to do something when they were young? And it's like, sometimes you have people who are trying to help, but people won't take it seriously because they're little. But a little issue turns into a big one the older they get. That's the scary part. How are you, Bayou Bingo? Doing well, just at work. Oh, thank you. I'll probably be on here another, well, I really wasn't planning on being here this long, but I was just on here talking about what's going on in the world, the crazy news, the things that people are going through. But anybody have good news to share? Let's end this live. I was venting about wanting the world to be better and not feeling it, about not knowing how to help it get better. But what's some good news happening? Oh, thank you. Yes, I still have yours running too. You'll see me comment here and there whenever I come to check on it, because I'm checking to make sure it's still running. So sometimes I'll leave a little comment here and there. What's some good news? Let's see. It's funny because even I just typed in news, and then immediately the first like 6 headlines are the things I was just talking about, the things that are horrible. You have to like dig through it to find good reports. That's crazy. It's sad too. Annabelle, that's a big one because we take things for granted. We take things for granted big time. Having a warm house when this weather is starting to get cold, that's definitely good news. Having food to eat, water to drink, clean water to drink, like all those things we take for granted are definitely good news. I should start like a segment on my channel where I just report good news, like where I do lives that just reports good news that's going on in the world. Like imagine if you had a station on TV that was just good news. Hey, Janetta, how are you? That might be something I do, Annabelle. Take a day in the week to just go live and just tell about good news that I hear from around the world. Because there's good news happening in our local communities, in our across the nation, but it's just those things, they get reported, but it's like you have to wait for it. They tell you all the horrible stuff first when you watch the news, and then they'll kind of trickle in the good news here and there. But Janetta, how are you? How's your day going? But imagine if there was a news station that only reported good news. It's and I get it, like it is good to know what's going on in the world, but I guess for me, if we're gonna keep reporting on all these things, I want to hear the solution after it. Like if you're gonna tell me about the story, what's the solution? Because I feel like otherwise we're just, it's like a cycle of bad news and then people forget about it and then they go on with life, and then bad news and people forget about it, they go on with life. Oh, you're doing Christmas shopping, Janetta. Good for you. You're getting ahead of the game. But really, it's crazy. I was just saying that I can't believe it's November, and then it's November 16th. It's like we're already more than halfway through November. It's crazy. So it's good that you're already shopping. My thing is now, when it comes to like Christmas shopping, I try to think of like things that people would want. But the kids, like my sister, she has a 13-year-old, a 21-year-old, and then a 6-year-old. So the 6-year-old, of course, still wants all the toys and stuff. So like for him, all I have to do is ask my sister what kind of toys does he want. Usually like they'll write a list and I'll be like, Tanya, show me the list. My sister's name is Tanya. I'll be like, what's on their list? And then I'll tell her what I'm gonna get. For the girls, her oldest daughter, she loves to do art and stuff like that. So she usually wants art supplies because art supplies are expensive. So if other people can buy them for her, she loves that. And then like my other nieces and nephews, at this point, the ones that the girls, like I can get them like Bath and Body Works stuff, but I kind of almost prefer to just give them money because they can just buy what they want, because I mean, what I think is cool, they may be like, that's not cool. But it's good to have the list. Like if you give me a list of things you like, that's helpful. Because I know like one of my nieces, she was really into BTS, the K-pop band. So I got her like BTS stuff. And then like last year, and then one of them, she liked cow print stuff. So I got her like some cow print makeup bags stuff. So it's good if I know what you like, then I can do it. And also with things like Bath and Body Works, the scents and things that I like, someone else may not like that scent. Because I know like some people like scents that are really strong and I don't. So your son's difficult. I feel like it is a little bit harder for boys just because there's so many things that girls like. So if you have a son, it narrows down to like a little bit more. So especially when they become teenage, I think young boys, they have so many toys and stuff they like, it might be a little bit easier. But I feel like boys' gifts can be more expensive too, because like, for example, if they want video games or things like that, those things get pricey. But yeah, I don't always know what to I feel like my parents are hard to shop for. Well, that's cool, Annabelle. Are you easy? Are you an easy gift giver too? Does she find getting gifts for you, Annabelle? Does she find it easy to get gifts for you too? What kinds of things do you like? I find it hard to get gifts for my parents because I feel like they don't need anything. Like my mom has clothes in her closet that still have tags. She has a whole bunch of purses. She has so many purses that when I go home, I'll usually take like one little purse, and then while I'm there, I'm using her purses because she has all these different cool purses. I'm just like, "Oh, this matches this outfit. I'm going to wear it." And then I'll just before I leave, I put her purses back in the closet. And she knows that I do it every time. She'll be like, "Girl, she got my purse again." I'm like, "'Cause you don't use them. So when I come home and visit, I just borrow your purses." You're complicated, Annabelle? Why is it complicated to get you gifts? Are you picky? Gift cards are good too, Janetta. But also, like, now that I've gotten older, like, I'm like, do I have to keep buying the adults gifts? But I feel like, of course, I have to buy my parents gifts, and I like to give. But I think now, even with my parents, they appreciate me giving money. So I'm probably like, my mom loves candles, so I'll probably get her, and she loves like scarves and jewelry, but she has a lot of jewelry too. So I'm like, you don't need more jewelry. My mom will go to the spa, but my dad, he'll be like, "Oh, I don't really want to go." He doesn't really have any hobbies. He does like to read. So like sometimes if I know there's a certain book that he might enjoy, I'll get him some books. But I found too, like my dad, he doesn't really buy himself like expensive or like the more high, I shouldn't even say expensive, high quality like sneakers. And so I find that if I buy them for him, he really likes getting that as a gift. Like if I buy him a nice pair of Nikes that he can have for a while, stuff like that. But sometimes it's hard to think of gifts. Oh, no problem, Janetta. I'm probably not going to be on much longer. Now that I've been on here, I'm just trying to get to a little over an hour, and then I'll probably stop. Yeah, Sonia. Especially with the ladies, like, I feel like everybody can find something that's at Bath and Body Works that they like, and they can just go get the scents that they want. Yep. A puppy, Annabelle. Well, they have a dog who I call my little sister, Misty. She's 18 years old. She's still kicking, and I said, I'm gonna cry when she leaves this earth, but they said they're not gonna get they don't want to get another dog after. Because my dad's 73. They're getting older, so they don't want to have the responsibility of starting with another dog again. 'Cause, you know, raising a dog is like a child. I mean, they get sick, you got to take them to the vet, get their shots and different things. So they said once Misty takes her last breath, that will be it. Goldfish. That would be funny. I would love to see my parents' reaction if I brought them a goldfish as a present. But I think money is the good route to go even with my parents, because then they can spend it on whatever they want. If they want to spend it on um, a water bill, you can spend it on whatever you want. Or if you want to go get something to eat or buy yourself something. Yeah, Annabelle, that's true. I feel like they're done with pets though. And really Misty, she's been with them these 18 years. I know that's gonna be hard to lose her, because they took her in because she was a little bitty puppy. And there was a little girl, her parents or somebody had gotten the puppy for her, but they weren't able to take care of her for some reason. And so they asked my parents if they would take her. And at first my parents tried to find another owner for her, and then they just got attached to her, and she's been there ever since. But she's old. She's a mixed with Chihuahua, and we don't know what the other breed is, but she doesn't look like the kind of triangular Chihuahua face. She looks like a little shaggy dog, but you can tell the mix with Chihuahua because of her feet, the shape of her feet, and the size that she is. But other than that, she looks like this little shaggy dog. She's too cute. And she's only like that big. And for her to be 18, I mean, she's old, but she still jumps about, but she kind of shakes and shivers a lot. And every so often has kind of this cough that she gets. But yeah, I hate to even think about them losing her, because but you know she's getting old. And the doctor, he was actually surprised at how healthy she still is and how like much energy she still has. But they've taken good care of her. She's a house dog. She doesn't like to be outside too long. She likes to go outside and play, run around. She gets tired, she's like jumping at the door to get back in. But yeah, I need to think about what I'm giving people, but most likely it'll be money. Yeah, and I hope she does, because she's still doing good. She'll be 19 years old. She'll be coming up to 19 years, so she's on her way. Oh, no problem, Annabelle. Oh, gosh, it's already 63 minutes. It's time for me to get off. I said I was just going to go a little bit over an hour. Talk to you later. I'm about to get off myself. I wasn't even watching the time. It's 64 minutes now. But anyway, guys, I hope you have a great evening. I just wanted to get on and talk about a little bit about the news going on, but we ended on a positive note, so we're going to keep it there. Yes, time goes by when you're having fun. But I appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you have a good evening. Stay tuned. I have a video that I think 2 videos I need to edit. I've not been wanting to edit, but I am going to edit, so I will put a video out tomorrow. I'll try to go live tomorrow. I was going to do the tag talks, but I ended up having to work a little bit more this week. And so if I am able to do one, then I will post that live. But anyway, I'll see y'all. Bye. Thank you for tuning in, for those who were able to. Bye-bye.